Hi folks, hope you're all good. Video here about the situation in Gaza and the UK's failure to condemn what's going on. So, as you probably know, there's a war going on in Gaza, or a slaughter as it probably should be called, where the Israelis are slaughtering the people of Gaza. The whole thing's completely pointless and wrong. But the UK doesn't seem to understand that, or the UK government. I think the people do understand it here. Most people think that the slaughter should stop. But the UK government recently has been voting at the UN, and the UN's been doing some extremely popular resolutions calling for an end to this war. And UK has been sadly abstaining, as far as I can see, from those votes. So they haven't got the guts to vote against it or for it. They're just abstaining. The reason they're abstaining is to please their friends, the US government, who are voting against these things. As I'm speaking now, there is some pressure on the US to actually change their view, so things might be looking up. And if the US change their views, pretty good chance the UK will follow suit, because the entire foreign policy of the UK for the whole of my lifetime has been to just suck up to the USA. So basically, I'm extremely disappointed with our government. It's not doing what the people of Britain want. It's certainly not doing what should be done. I think it's quite likely that Israel might give in to that kind of international pressure of a UN resolution. So also, I believe the UK is selling or even giving Israel weapons. I'm not sure what the details about that is. That's even worse, I guess, than this thing, or just as bad. So it's extremely disappointing. Some people might be a bit confused about the Israel-Palestine issue and think it's a nuanced subject, but I can tell you it isn't really. It's a very simple conflict. There are two peoples, and one bunch of people, the Jewish Israelis, are occupying the other group, who are the Palestinians, and that's really it. The Palestinians are not occupying the Israelis, and the violence is pretty simple as well. I believe about 95% of the killing is being done by the occupying Israelis, and the other group are doing 5% of it, obviously. And it's pretty clear from that who's in the driving seat, which group can solve this problem on its own, really, without worrying too much about negotiations. They can really offer the Palestinians freedom if they want to at any time, and they can obviously stop almost all the killing at any time. And they're in a position to do that. They've got superiority, military superiority, and so on. There are some nuances of the whole thing, but it don't really matter that much. I mean, one nuance, I suppose, is years ago, the Palestinians were probably the ones that started the whole conflict. The Israelis were just moving in large numbers of people. The Jews were moving in large numbers of people to the area. That was pissing off the Palestinians. But if they'd been really cool people, down to every single individual, they could have taken that, I guess. And even now, Palestinians are doing violence. It would be really cool if they could show super restraint and not do any violence. That might not solve the occupation either, but I think it would be a better strategy. Another nuance is that the Israelis did pull out of Gaza, I think about 15 years ago. So there is quite a bit of autonomy going on in Gaza, but not complete autonomy. The Israelis are controlling the borders, as I understand it, and stopping supplies going in and reducing their quality of life. But I'm not an expert on that. I mean, maybe there is some sort of point there where the Gazans do have some autonomy, but certainly the West Bank is entirely occupied by, or not entirely. I mean, they have some autonomy as well, but it's more of a hands-on occupation still over there. And it should be acknowledged there was a terrible terrorist attack by the Gazans on Israelis in October 2 months ago, and that has provoked this thing. So that was a nuance. That was a problem. But by and large, the Israelis are the ones that can solve this thing, and the Palestinians are. It's doubtful whether they can. They're the ones who should solve it. So countries like the UK should be pressuring the Israelis to do the right thing, not supporting them whatever evils they do. Those are my thoughts. I hope you found that interesting, and I hope it comes to an end sooner rather than later. Thank you very much.